there. There would be something there.
You just
Something.
can't say I was a Christian one at one time, and then I'm not a Christian anymore.
Yeah, there would
Wow.
be something there. And hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hello. I was actually hoping to speak to Praise, but I'll speak to you, wonderful people. How are you, Olive and Sparrow? How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I was in Nox stream earlier, the Raging Atheist, and talking about a lot of stuff to do with Hovind. Obviously, he's the big news at the moment. I know that Praise has been going around kind of doing sort of a defense job for Hovind, and I wanted to speak to Praise directly, but that's okay if he's tired and stuff. I know he's been doing a lot lately, but what would your thoughts on it be? Obviously, the big news is his channel's been kaput. It's been shelved.
So here's my thing though. A
Sure.
person who wants to listen to Kant, they shouldn't be bullied and use the argument, well, he's a pedo supporter. Because when Kent is coming online, he's doing debates or he's talking about the word of God. His private life, it shouldn't be used against a person. It should not be, Mark. It should not be. Because the only ones that know about that private life are the ones involved. Because we are not there. So all we can do is basically go by rumors or sources, and stories are changing. And I just think that if people, and this includes if it's an atheist, a philosopher, a teacher, a person should be able to enjoy a content without being bullied and using a personal life against them. And I think that Praise is doing a good job, but my only advice is to Praise, like, he doesn't need to get into that private area because he doesn't know. He
We
doesn't.
don't.
So
Nobody knows.
yeah.
We just
So the
know that
oh, and
anybody
there's
could
Praise.
go
I'm
at,
sorry, Mark.
and
Okay.
anybody could go at a channel. They could go at you, Mark, if they just,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and say, I want to just take Mark's channel down. Let's get everybody to
And I'm gonna
just
start
flag,
flagging
flag,
it.
flag. Okay. And,
Well, let you mentioned sources, so let's go from. I mean, the only place that I've really gotten information, I have heard rumors and stuff, but I mean, really, all I'm doing is listening to what Kent has said himself. Um,
Yeah.
the whole idea of Chris Jones, like, I'm not pulling it out from somewhere that's sort of a person talking rumors. Rather, it's what from Kent said he was aware of. Um,
Okay, but Mark, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm gonna interject because but look
Okay.
at the way that Kent is, and look at Kent and Brett Keane. If Brett Keane did to me what he has done to Kent, the constantly going back and forth, and the horrendous things that Brett has said one day, and then I love you the next day, and Ken still goes back and gives Brett Keane a chance after chance after chance. And to me, that shows a man that wants to see the best in people. Okay. And not holding like what Brett did over him. And he's taking Brett at his word when Brett apologized and say, like, I don't have evil motives. So I just see a man that looks for the best in the people. And I believe Kent when he thinks that this Chris Jones isn't guilty and hasn't done bad, because look at the history. There's to me, I mean, that to me, it shows it in itself. I think he's a gullible idiot and he's a
Well, I
dumbass
look.
in his personal life.
I don't know what Brett can. I've met Brett. I've talked with him. I don't know what he's doing or not doing, and really,
Oh,
it's got
it's
nothing to
horrendous.
do with what
It's
we're talking
horrendous.
about. Well,
No,
I don't
it,
know.
it
It
does, because we can
No, it
look
doesn't.
at his relationships with other people
But
to get a track. record. Yeah.
But unless he was there sort of moving Kent's jaw and making him say the things that he said, like he was aware that Chris Jones had that criminal history, he isn't responsible for what Kent has said, which is that he was aware that Chris Jones had this history. He doesn't believe it. He let him take a child into his park. He let them
And
sleep in
just
a
leave
bed
it at
together.
that. And because this is YouTube, kids are not around him online. It is content for people to learn and to study. It's none of our business. We do not have the right to go flag a person because we think that he is guilty. Just look how the justice system works. That you are innocent until proven guilty. Leave it at that. Let the
Well, I don't think
justice
anyone's
system work,
flagging
and
his channel
nobody
because of
should
that.
be bullied. And frankly, and nobody's thoughts should even have to come into play. If everybody wants to get on and have a soap opera hour, right, like Inside Edition on Kent Hovind, have at it. Go have fun. But if you have a Christian that wants to listen to content, they shouldn't be bullied. And if a Christian wants that content on their channel, they shouldn't be bullied. That has nothing to do with the legal matters. And I'm seeing total abuse and
What legal
mockery
matters?
and berating and all types of insults coming at the Christians, and it's horrendous.
What
Just
legal matters are
because
you
they are
talking about?
using an online platform. It's
Like you're
all
saying
over, Mark. It is
that's
all over. Praise, I've seen
okay, but
horrible things
what
said
legal?
about Praise because Ken Hovind.
Well, what legal matters are you talking about that's got no? You're
I
saying
don't
that they're
know
bringing
because I
that.
don't know the
Well,
man,
you're the
and
one that's
neither
saying
does
it, Olive.
Praise.
Well, you're saying that allegation or that thing that Kent has said has got nothing to do with legal matters. So, what legal
No, I
matters are
didn't
you
say
talking about?
that. I didn't say that. I said all that has nothing to do with coming online and having material. That has
Well, it
so
does.
no, it doesn't. It
Well, yeah,
If
it
doesn't.
someone
does.
It
wants to
does
watch
not,
it,
Mark. It doesn't. He's not around kids. He's not harming nobody online.
but Kent is not the one in question.
Well, the problem is when you come onto YouTube, you're sort of presenting yourself in a certain way as, hey, I am producing this content and putting it out for people to see. So if you are taking a moral stance, if you're saying, hey, this is the
His
way you
personal
ought
life
to
is
behave
none of my
morally,
business. It's
then
nobody's
you're
business. It's
basically
none of yours.
saying that no, it is. It's
No,
because
it's not.
as
Is
a
your personal
person,
life my business, Mark? Should I
sure,
do a background check on you
if if you
because
want,
we
sure.
are talking together online? I
Sure.
mean,
I mean,
is that what people are going to have uh,
if
to
if
do a
if
background
I
check
on
if somebody comes online to
if
do a debate?
yeah, so if I am online, if I am online sitting there going, "Hey, I'm Mark Reid. I run this place. Come to my house. Come bring your kids. Bring all this stuff. We do this. Come along and involve yourself in the thing that I am running and presenting that." Advertising for it, marketing it online, then yeah, what I do in the place that I am marketing for, that I am presenting to everybody online and encouraging them to come to, is kind of your business because it
It's
isn't
not.
just.
So what?
Of
That's
course it
his
is.
business. Let the law handle itself out. You are not the law. You
Um,
are not the law. The court of public opinion is completely irrelevant.
no, it's very relevant because you're going on, and I would be going on saying, "Hey, come
I
and
didn't
join me
bring
in
up
my
Kent.
life."
Leave the man alone and let the law handle itself
Well, I
out.
didn't bring this up either. This was just things that came up. And most of this I have learnt from watching Kent himself
Yeah,
talk about it.
sources. Okay,
Like, I
all they
know,
are.
look, I know you would probably love for all of this to be like buried beneath, the
I can give a
secrecy
shit
of it
if it
didn't
is
happen,
buried, if it is
nothing
No.
to see
plastered on
here,
the
it's
Hollywood
all
sign. I can
fine,
care
let's
less.
just bury it. Like a lot of this
No,
stuff
that's
has been
actually not
buried
true,
in
Mark. That's
churches.
No,
actually
I think a
from
lot of
But
atheists
Requiem.
want that.
there is a
Nope,
responsibility
it's none of your
to
business. Let the
address
law
these
handle itself.
issues.
It's not about burying it. It's about a
Well, it
biasness.
looks like
It's
a
about a
cover up to
biasness.
me.
It's
It
not a cover up.
100%. That's what it looks like.
What can a
We
person
came on
online?
to read
I don't
scripture,
even
and this
know
is what
Kent.
we get.
So am
Well,
I going to
I mean, you
cover a
don't
man
have to talk about
putting a
it.
woman on a ceiling, Mark? Am I going to cover that up? How? Am I
Okay,
going to
so
take an emoji and cover that up? That accusation, and Cindy coming online and going against
mhm.
missing Maud and accusing her of threats when I don't even know her, and I completely understood that it wasn't a threat, and I knew exactly where she was coming from. It is a Mexican soap opera. Let the law handle itself out. Leave the Christians alone. Stop bullying them. Just
Leave
leave
the
them alone.
Christians alone.
If they want to support Kent and his content, why do
Yeah,
you have to bully them? Why? Why are you
I'm
imposing
not
your
bullying
beliefs
anybody,
and
Olive.
trying to take
Nobody's
away
being
their
bullied.
rights?
So
So is
all of
it there?
this
Just like
came to
Cheryl said,
my
is it
attention.
obsession?
All of this came to my attention through the things that other people had been saying. This is all that came to my
It's a
attention,
he
and
said,
lots
she
of
said
people have been
bullshit
invited to
madness.
Dinosaur Adventureland, where it turns out these really weird things are happening, and
You know what, Mark?
for
If
you
I
to
would have
say, "Hey,
listened,
it's nobody's business," but the person doing it, well, there's a problem there. It sort of says, well, let them handle it in house, and that just it's not really good enough.
no,
I
But
Mark,
think about
also
the
no.
people
The
that come
problem is,
through
no, I want to say
Dinosaur
something really
Adventure.
fast, Sparrow. I want to say something. So if I listen to sources, it went
mhm.
from Zaire being dead and his bones were buried at Dinosaur Adventureland. Okay. So
Yeah, I
should I
was
have went?
never involved
Oh
with
no,
any kind
this
of
is the
conspiracy.
craziness that has been going on, and Kent knew
Well,
about it.
it's not
Somebody
it's
seen,
not
no, 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 no,
something
no,
that
no,
I
Mark, no, no,
adhere
no, no,
to.
no, no, no. I'm gonna
Yeah,
finish,
I
and no,
yeah.
no, I'm gonna finish. Okay, and somebody seen dirt dug up, and they knew that's where he was buried. And Cindy was a part of this. They all were a part of this. Some lady who was only there for a week, she knew everything, and she knew that he was buried there, and so did this other dude, right? And then they bring on a child, an actual child, and ask him the most horrendous, disgusting things. And a parent wasn't even there. A parent wasn't even there. I would have sued Brett Keane for talking to my child in a perverted way to even allow a child to be asked these questions because of the obsession with Kent Hovind. I have seen the madness. It is a Mexican soap opera, and the Christians need to stop being bullied. They should be allowed to watch
No one's
content
being
in
bullied.
peace. No, they are. No, they are.
How?
I'm watching
How?
them. I'm watching them
Because we
have
heard that there
videos
was
being
this
made.
kid that was buried out, and then next thing you
Yeah.
know, this kid
So
is running
not
And it
around.
everybody
That
was
drops in
on
the
right
board
there
with
was
phone.
that. We
a
just
lie.
No.
basically heard about this through multiple sources, and
Well,
it
see,
turns
there you
out
go.
that
You
that
heard.
from Kent himself. Like, the only thing that I'm talking about is what Kent has gone onto his YouTube channel, broadcasted for the world to see, broadcasted and talked to everybody, and said outright about having his friend, his really good
I
friend,
don't
in
care, Mark.
with
I
this
don't
criminal
give
record.
two
Well, I
flying
do.
shits.
I do
This
care
is
if
things
there is
online.
somebody out
Then
there
take
who
your
is
trauma
enabling
elsewhere,
these
Mark.
type
Take it
of
elsewhere.
people to
Take it
take
elsewhere.
these
Take it
kids
elsewhere.
somewhere and abuse
Hey,
them.
Take it
It
Mark,
does
Mark, I
it
got a
elsewhere.
does
Do
question. I
not
got a
concern me.
use it.
question.
Take it
I got a
elsewhere.
Like,
question for
I
Mark.
think
I
I
got a
think
question.
that the problem is the
Take
hypocrisy.
it
If this was
elsewhere.
an
Take your
atheist,
soap
you
opera
guys would be.
elsewhere.
See, the thing is,
Have
here's the
your
thing.
inside
It's
edition and your
it's
trial
sort of
elsewhere.
it's sort of you guys
Hey,
will
Mark,
comment
I got a
on
serious
people's
question.
personal
It's
lives
very
all the
relevant.
live long day until somebody does something absolutely horrendous that you want to protect, and then you defend them to the death. It's crazy.
Mark,
Where was
I got to tell you something. I was attacked by
Yeah.
a bunch of Christians, and I'm a Christian, and I was attacked for going on Smokey Saints channel, and somehow there was a group of people that found out something to do with his private life, and they started to get involved in what he was doing, and they came to me and said, "What are you hanging out with this guy for?" And I don't even hang out with him in real life. Didn't even know him. I didn't know Dr. Kenny. I didn't know the other guy, the
okay?
dude from
I'm
New
not
York.
talking about them,
Well,
Dave.
No,
I'm
isn't
but it's a
talking
similar
that a
situation
guy?
because I lost my whole channel over this, and people flagged my channel for being allegedly related to Smokey somehow, and some court hearing that he had in New York for something that happened like 20 years ago
oh my gosh, this
when he
is
was
like I'm so
younger. And
tired
and
of
I'm the
this
Hasn't
guy that got
drama.
hasn't
attacked. I'm
this
kind of like the
hasn't
Ken Hovind,
hasn't this
but I
channel done like things about Smokey Saint deserves to be taken off, and anyone associated deserves to be?
Okay, you know what? Drama is over. If they
I
want to
would,
go,
but I had a question for Mark. Let's just for hypothetically say Kent did all this. What does that do to him? Like, how does that affect him? Why is he even? I mean, is he
Well,
morally outraged? And if you're an atheist, how are you
yeah.
morally outraged when there is no morality, Mark?
Okay, I'll just say first up, and I don't want to get nasty about it. I'm just saying it's weird that you guys sort of say no censorship, and then you just kick me off for speaking what I've heard from Kent himself. It's kind of a double standard there. I'm not being nasty about it. I'm just saying, hey, that's probably not something you should be doing if you want freedom of speech. Now, as a moral standard, I am part of a society that we've got to have moral standards in place. We've got to make sure that people who are
Says
predators.
who?
What do you mean? Says who? Says
Yeah,
society.
I mean,
What do you mean?
it's this imaginary invention by you. You're saying
Well,
that,
no.
oh, morality should be a certain way because you're
Sure.
saying it so. I mean, can you give us an
Yeah.
objective standard for why it should be applicable to all people? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So basically, it's subjective what you want out of what your goal should be. There's nothing telling you have to be part of society, or that society has to be successful in some way. But if that's the case, if you don't care about how society flourishes or succeeds, then take yourself elsewhere, because society has to work in order for us to flourish as human beings. It has to. So, if you want to be part of society, there are certain things you ought to do to have society flourish. That's metaethical relativism. The goal may be relative, but there's objective standards once you agree that society is important. It's something that we want to have flourish and succeed. So it's fine. Like there's
That's
nothing
just
objectively.
imagination, though. You're just saying
Well,
something's
no,
because you imagined it to be so, therefore we should do it. It's
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 not it's
really
not
useless.
imagination. It's not imagination that I want to be part of a flourishing society. That's not imagination. That's something that I want. And it's not a sort of
Well,
a
some people don't want that. What makes your
well, that
moral
that's
opinion
fine.
different than
That's
someone
fine.
else?
That's fine. If you don't want to be part of a flourishing society, go seasteading. Go start your own
I
society.
mean, my
Get
point
out
is
of
you're
the
not better
society
than the
that we're a
person who
part of.
disagrees with you, though. All you're doing is espousing your moral
But I
opinion,
am
and I don't see where it
I
gets to.
I am better as it pertains to society succeeding, and the people in society
being an
want
atheist.
society to succeed because they are part of that mechanism. They are a part of the society that we all share. Now, if you want to go round and invite, these horrible people to your house and then sort of try to cover it up by saying, "Hey, don't talk about my personal life, even though you've done this horrible thing," go and find a society where
it's
that's
not a house,
okay.
Horrible.
Mark. It's
But hold
online.
on. But I think I wasn't like so horrible to who? According to what and who? Like, is this
according
your own
to the
opinion?
according to the framework of a flourishing society. If we allow things like this,
Free
That's just
society is
begging the
going to
exercise.
be
question. That's just
worse.
begging the
It's not
question.
begging the question. It's not, because
It is. You're saying
basically,
because
yeah,
a flourishing society says
yeah.
something, therefore it's true. That's just begging the question.
No, it's not. It's a matter of saying if not is, but if the well-being of society and humans is important to you, then we ought to not allow this kind of thing. There's no begging the question there. We can objectively show that these kind of behaviors are antithetical to a society that has well-being. If you don't, if you want to interfere with the well-being of society, that's fine, but you can go elsewhere or you'll be imprisoned, because that is not what society wants. That
In
is basically
atheism,
not what they're going to.
there's nothing that imposes something ought to be. So tell us what is
No,
your
there
moral
is.
ought? Where does moral
Amen.
oughts come
Praise.
from?
Moral oughts come from a view, a meta-ethical framework that we care about the well-being of, or that's
No,
at
that's
least where
just
my
describing
morals
it.
come from. No. If you
That's just a
care about
description
the,
of something. No,
hang
we
on,
wanted to,
hang on.
what
If
imposes a
look,
moral ought. So tell us
if
what that is.
yes, so it's from people agreeing that if society, the well-being of society and
It's just
individuals is important.
cultural
Excuse me,
relativity.
Praise, you can't just talk
That's
over the top of me.
ridiculous.
No, it's meta-ethical relativity. Meta-ethical
That does
relativity.
that doesn't what word that doesn't even no one even cares what you call it. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
Well, it does, yeah, sure. I mean, it basically says that as long as we can agree on a framework, as long as we can agree that society is important, there are objective moral decisions we can use to achieve that goal that we agree on. And if you
Well, the
don't want to
Nazis
agree,
agreed on what they wanted to believe. What makes your
sure did,
moral standard
but
better than the Nazis?
right, but the Nazis, what they wanted out of their society, i.e., having the most powerful and influential society in the world, their actions were antithetical to that, actually achieving that goal. There
According
was
to who?
no
You?
way. Well, objectively, they were never going to get to that goal. They were never
Objectively,
going
what
to.
object? Tell us what the object is that
They
it
were never
imposes
going
in
to
a moral
get to
ought.
world domination as they sort of saw it, and basically attacking people and trying to genocide is antithetical to achieving the goal that they're after. So
Do
it
you even
still
know
is
what
immoral.
objective means,
Even
Mark?
yeah, I do. It means irrelevant
So
of
tell us what
anybody's
objective
mind,
means.
anybody's perspective. It's irrelevant of anybody's perspective.
It's stance independent. So tell us what imposes a
That's exactly
universal
what I
moral
just
ought.
said. There is no universal moral ought. And
Then,
I
your
challenge
opinion's
you to
worthless.
show a universal moral ought. What is a universal
Sure.
moral ought? Yeah, well, show it, demonstrate it.
It's what God says and what
Yeah, I know, you
He's
can claim that.
commanded.
You can just outright claim that, but demonstrate it. Show that your universal or moral ought is in fact universal and is in fact objective. Go for it.
Easy.
Demonstrate it.
Yeah, we'll start with moral ontology. So the epistemic conditions for moral responsibility, it it uh, it demands that there be a free will condition, but also praiseworthiness and blameworthiness. That only qualifies under the Christian theistic framework.
Yeah, you claim that, but
Atheism.
that's not a demonstration.
No,
That is just a
those are the actual
just an
epistemic
assertion.
conditions.
No. That's
No,
just
it's
an
not. No,
assertion.
this
It
is in
is an
philosophy. You
assertion.
know what the hell you're talking about.
It's
Stanford
basically
Encyclopedia. Look it up.
objective morals are only possible under Christianity. Stanford does not say
That's
that in
correct.
any way, shape, or
Well, it
form.
does though.
It
Actually, look up
doesn't.
the
It so
epistemic.
doesn't. No, it says that Christians claim that. That is all. It doesn't say that
No,
is demonstrated in any way.
I'm giving you the answer, Mark. You need to look it up. So the epistemic conditions for moral responsibility. Look it up yourself.
Yeah, so this is the whole point. There's some kind of moral ontology as an objective morality, and you're begging the question by saying that that exists in the first place. So you're sort of saying, well, moral ontology requires these two things.
No,
Prove that there
what
is a
I'm
moral
saying is
ontology. Prove it.
what I'm saying. Moral realism is true because all we need is one
Why?
moral proposition to be true, which is torturing babies for pleasure is wrong, and that is inherently true. Therefore, moral realism is true. Therefore, the epistemic conditions for moral responsibility is true. Therefore, only God can be the objective framework for morality. There you go. I just proved it to you.
No, that doesn't prove it at all in any way,
How
shape, or
so?
form.
Tell me how tell
Because
me how what I said is in there.
there may be a situation you can pose ethically to say, hey, if you had the option between, say, all the babies in the world dying and the entire human race being wiped out completely and torturing a few babies, you could say that the moral decision between those two outcomes is actually the finite suffering of torturing some babies. Wouldn't it?
So are you denying that the
Oops.
proposition that torturing
Oops.
babies for pleasures is false? Are you denying that?
That's right.
Wow, so you're an amoralist then. That's all you are. You're just
No,
denying.
no,
Yeah, you
no. I've
are.
already said what my moral standard is, but you're sort of just
That's
detracting.
moral. That's
You're
morally
sort of just
atrocious to
detracting.
say
You're sort
that.
of just detracting from the whole idea that something gruesome happened at that DAL. Something happened there that Kent described. Right? He described
How the
what
hell would
happened
you
that
know?
should.
Like, were you there? Do you have camera evidence?
Well,
Like, what
no, I'm
evidence?
just. Shouldn't I take Kent at his word when he says that his
I'm
friend,
not
who
asking you
he was
to, but
aware.
for
Hang
you
on a sec, let
to.
me finish. He was aware
Okay.
he had a criminal conviction in a certain thing, and then he was aware he brought a child into the park. And he was aware. This is all from Kent, so don't say this is rumor. It's all from Kent that he was aware that he took that child and slept in a bed with that child.
I don't think you know because I actually know the circumstances. So I mean, I'm going to ask you a question to find out if you actually know what the hell you're talking about. So
Well,
my
no, I
question
mean
to
that
you:
was a
when did this
question. Like,
happen? Okay, so when I'm gonna this to check and see if you know what you're talking about. Because if you know what the hell you're talking about, you shouldn't be talking about it. So my question to you is: when did this incident happen with Chris sleeping, or having some type of party, whatever you want to talk, whatever you want to, how you want to say it, with that kid? So let me know, when did that happen? Let's see how much you know here.
what do you mean? Like, when he got the charges came out from the police on this
Yeah,
matter?
you said that this
Uh,
Chris was, having a slumber party, or he was
I
nude and
think
he
it
was
was
doing.
2000. I didn't never said nude. I never said that. I never said that
Okay,
ever.
I
Okay,
thought,
so
okay.
stop sort of making out things that I haven't said. That is misrepresentation in the worst possible way. And don't go to, oh, but you have no morality. I mean, come on, you're just deflecting praise. It's a
But
hundred
my
percent
point is, why are
blatantly
you
obvious.
virtue signaling though? It's all this is virtue
Are
signaling,
you
because
seriously
if
saying virtue signaling to try and stop a predator? Are you seriously saying that, praise?
But how? But I don't think you're just conjecturing
Oh
whether
my!
he is a predator, and what
Who?
the
Chris
details
Jones?
surrounding this.
Chris Jones? Are you going to sit here and say that Chris Jones does not have a criminal record?
I'm not even saying that.
Yeah,
I'm saying
Okay, so
I'm
what
saying
is his
the
criminal
details
record in?
surrounding that. I don't think you know the details surrounding that. That's what I'm challenging.
So, does Chris Jones have a criminal record?
Yes, he does.
Is that criminal record to do with abusing children?
Yes.
Yes. Did he bring a child onto DAL?
Who did?
Chris Jones.
No, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that he brought a young boy, onto Dinosaur Adventureland?
No, I never heard that at all.
Are you serious right now?
Yes, what I've heard is a parent brought their own child there, and they allowed their child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not
Wow.
like Chris brought his own child. Like, are you saying
No, it
Chris
was
had his
somebody
own
else's
child?
child. Yeah, it wasn't Chris's child, it was somebody
So he
else's
kidnapped
child.
someone then? Is that what you're saying? Did
No,
he
no, he
kidnap someone
told the
now?
mother, he would bring the child to DAL to be baptized. And the guy was the mother's boss. Chris Jones was the mother's boss, who ran Boost Mobile, a Boost Mobile store. And he took that child, and I won't say the child's name because I really don't want to get into it, but he took that child over state lines to DAL. And it's incredible that you're unaware of this detail, because Kent outlined it himself. It's insane that you don't know this. He brought that child, Chris Jones brought that child to DAL instead of getting, and this is all being testified by Hovind himself. He allowed him to sleep in a house that used to be owned by Cindy Lincoln, and said that, hey, we've got permission for him to sleep in the same bed as this child.
So Cindy Lincoln was the one who let sleep in the house. The ex-wife.
She didn't own the house at the time. It used
Well,
to be
you
owned
said
by him.
she. Well, you just said she did.
It used to be owned by Cindy Lincoln, is what I said.
Okay, but well, when that happened, she owned the house, right?
But the whole point is that when he did
No,
bring
when
that
they
you're leaving
child,
yeah.
Cindy
a
Lincoln
lot
out.
of people
This
kicked
is
up
taking a turn
because
for
Chris
me.
Jones had a record. A lot of people at DAL got very angry because Chris Jones had a record, and him bringing a child to Dinosaur Adventureland was just, I mean, if you're aware of his record, it is unconscionable. And their parents, they were upset,
And why
and they,
didn't Cindy Lincoln do something? Why didn't she
Right,
do
instead of
something?
I don't know.
let them stay at her house.
Because a lot of
Like
Why
people
isn't she
kicked
going to
up,
ask?
and
She
there
should
was
have went to
somebody
the
Oh, look
there
who's
police and
in
defending
reported a
Cindy
pedophile.
Lincoln now.
Okay,
there was
so
Yeah.
somebody
Lincoln's
It's all
house,
Pan's
and
there
fault.
was
Yeah.
somebody in
Cindy
there
Lincoln let her
that
stay
kicked
at the
up and
house.
basically
So
said, no, he is allowed to be with that kid. He has permission from the parents, and he will be
you just
staying
said
at
that it
Adventure
was Cindy Lincoln's
Dinosaur Adventure
house, that
House.
she owned it,
I said it
and that
used to be,
he.
is what I
Yeah,
said,
but
if
at
you
the
actually check it.
time you said, okay, at the
It
time
used to
that she
be.
owned it, but she doesn't own it now, but she did own it, and that house was hers when she let them stay there. What I don't
Well,
see any,
Cindy Lincoln was not in charge of Dinosaur Adventureland at the time,
but it
and
was her house.
all of this, Kent has said he was aware of Chris Jones' record. He just didn't believe it. Now, why would you allow somebody like that with that record to bring a child onto your compound and then sleep in the same bed with them? It's ridiculous. It is,
Which
and the
brings,
apologetics
Cindy
that is
Lincoln. Why don't
happening
you
over
ask
this.
Cindy Lincoln this?
But why did the parents?
Well, the parents didn't
Wasn't it
know
wasn't it
that.
ultimately the
But the
parent
parent,
who gave
yes,
the consent to do this? So why isn't the
to
parent
stay at Cindy's
faulted for
Oh,
that?
house.
I don't think a parent's giving consent for a child predator to take their child away and do what Chris Jones has been convicted of doing in the past. I don't think any parent is
And
is
she
saying,
worked
hey,
for
that's
him.
fine. And the fact that you've got to sort of go into victim blame mode, Praise, it is belittling you, that you have to go into, well,
No,
let's
I'm just
blame
saying your virtue
anybody, but
seemingly is
that,
pretty pathetic, Mark.
well,
It's not
Chris
amounting
Jones
to anything.
is a disgusting monster. Why are you not
No
condemning what
one
he did?
disagrees with you, Mark.
Then no,
Exactly.
no,
It's Kent.
someone
It's the
disagrees with me.
circumstances
Someone
around
disagrees
that.
with me, and their name is Kent Hovind. That's who disagrees with me.
Ken Hovind, he says he doesn't communicate with him anymore. He excommunicated him from the
Oh, but
property.
he
Didn't
had a
you hear
lot
that?
to say before he did. He had a lot to say about how Chris Jones was a great guy. He was a really close friend. He was set up. He
Yeah.
didn't.
He was called hoodwinked. Do you know what hoodwinking is?
I'm aware of what it is, but I don't think that Kent was hoodwinked in the slightest. I think that he knew he had a criminal
Absolutely he
record.
was. Yeah. So here's what Kent did. He's a kind person and he gave him a chance. He thought that, oh, this Chris guy's changed his life and I trust him. So that was his mistake. He
What?
gave him a
Why
chance.
would you? Why would you trust him?
Because the Chris led him to believe that. He says, I'm a changed man in the Lord and this and that. See, Kent, like me, I give people a chance and his kindness was taken advantage of.
Well, it's not right, and sort of the
It's
whole
not right
idea
according
that
to
you've
who
got to.
though? It's just a
Yeah, it's
subjective
not right
opinion. It
according to
doesn't
me
mean
and the
much.
rest of society in which I am a part of,
You're
because
not speaking
that
for
is
the rest of society.
unconscionable.
Who are you to speak for the rest
Oh,
of
so you think
society?
it's
That's
right, do you,
stupid.
Praise? In your objective moral standard, all of that is right, do
It's
you?
only right or wrong if God exists. So you're going to have
Oh, it's
to
only right or
borrow
wrong
from
if God
God
exists.
to
Okay,
come down
well,
against Kent.
it's funny because the rest of society thinks that that's damn wrong, and we do have a moral standard. I mean, you can claim it comes from God all you want, but you can't demonstrate that. It's just an assertion that you
I just
make.
did earlier. You didn't
No,
even
you
come close
didn't.
to even
You
refuting, not
didn't.
even
That's the
touching my
thing.
argument.
That's the thing. You didn't demonstrate any kind of
Oh
objective
my
morality at all.
God! So how did you refute my argument? Can you even like steelman my argument? So steelman it.
You said that if torturing babies for pleasure is
No, that's not
morally
my argument. Not even close.
okay. Well, what's your? Well, I really don't want to get sidetracked by you basically going, well, God is the only moral standard when clearly everybody else in society has morals. Like, this is the thing, Praise. Like, we manage to make laws and make moral decisions without any kind of a belief in God. And the funny thing is, the real funny, hilarious thing is that your morals are different from majority of other Christians out there. And you're all claiming an objective moral standard. Yet you guys can't even agree on what the
We're not,
morals
but
are.
again, like now you're just strawmanning us. So
No,
no
it's
one ever
called the
said more.
argument. No, no, it's
Hold on.
called
Let me
the
respond to
argument
that.
from moral variability. It's
No,
not
what you're
not straw man
confusing
at all.
Hold on, you're confusing moral epistemology with ontology.
You don't have
When Christians
ontology,
argue,
Praise. You have no
we do.
access to ontology. No, you don't. You
We
can't. You
do.
only have
Absolutely, we
epistemology.
do.
Nobody
Yes,
has
we
access
do.
to ontology. How do you access ontology then? How do you get past your beliefs and knowledge and go straight
And
to ontology? How is that possible?
so several ways. So first of all, intuition, number one, and number two,
Intuition.
yes, moral intuition.
Is
You can laugh
intuition
at it, but
wrong?
it's an actual thing.
Is intuition wrong? Can your intuition be
Intuition doesn't
wrong?
have to be wrong. It's what we
Can
naturally
it doesn't
incline
have to be, but is it wrong? Can it be
Can it be
wrong?
wrong? Maybe,
Yes.
but
Then it's not
that's not the point.
ontologically sound. What are you
That is
talking about?
you don't know what the
No,
hell
you're
you're
not.
talking about.
The whole idea
It,
that because you have moral intuition, which is sometimes wrong, means that it cannot be an ontology.
and
You realize that,
and
don't you?
you don't know what you're talking about, Mark. You are
Okay, so
completely
if
off
I
base.
have the intuition that you're sort of morally bad for supporting Kent Hovind, that means ontologically you are
That is
bad.
not. Now you don't even know what. See, that's not intuition. So you first of all, you need to
Yes, it
learn what
is. It's
moral
my moral
intuition is.
intuition. No, that's
No,
my
that's
moral
just
intuition.
no, that's just a subjective viewpoint that
No,
you
you are
decided to make up in your
confused.
head.
You are confused and think because
You
you have a
don't know what you're
moral
talking about.
intuition, i.e., just
You
intuition
don't.
about the moral value of things, that somehow your intuition magically transforms into an ontology that isn't even an epistemology. It's somehow
Well,
the base level a fact of reality just from intuition. That is insane.
what you know what the hell you're talking about. So secondly, also moral properties themselves, they have sui generis properties. Even do you know what sui generis properties are?
No, enlighten me.
So sui generis properties are non-natural. They are normative. They are universally binding. They are what they call supernatural. So you have to tell us how moral
Morals aren't
properties
supernatural.
supervene.
Yeah,
You
no,
have to
morals
tell us
aren't
how moral
supernatural.
properties
There's nothing.
that are immaterial,
Yeah,
non-natural, how they
there's
supervene in the
there's
natural world.
nothing.
So like,
There's
tell
nothing
us how morals
supernatural about
supervene.
morals.
Go,
Okay,
go
so
ahead, Mark.
morals
Tell
are
us how
based
they
upon
supervene.
yeah. So morals are based upon two precepts that run true for all social animals. Basically, one is empathy, and the other is
That's
reciprocity.
descriptive. I could care
They are
less what you're
basically
describing.
the two feelings that you get when under certain conditions in order for societies to function and social things to function. The idea that you're starting with this whole idea that morals are somehow supernatural is just ridiculous.
They are.
Show me a supernatural moral. Show it to me.
They don't have natural properties.
Show it
So
to me.
the idea of moral
Of course
goodness,
they
you're not
have
going to
natural
find that under a
properties.
microscope. You're
Of
not going to.
course
You
they have
can't.
natural
You
properties.
can't extract that. So
Sure we
they have
can.
non-natural properties.
Sure we can.
So
Absolutely
tell
we
us
can.
how. Well,
Yeah, so
and
we can
surely if they
see
can, well,
yeah,
hold
we
on.
can
You're making
see
a claim.
empathy
I'm going
and
to hold your feet to the
reciprocity
fire.
in all kinds of animals. We don't have to go, well, we've got this supernatural thing that we can't
Tell us
demonstrate, we
how
can't see,
moral
we can't
properties
access it at all,
supervene.
but somehow it's
You
supernatural.
keep on
It's
evading,
not
Mark. You
even
keep on evading.
supernatural. All it
Tell
is
us
an
how moral
implementation
properties
of
supervene
the
on natural
tools
properties.
of empathy and
Mark, you're
reciprocity.
evading.
I'm not evading. You're begging the question by saying,
No, you're
hey,
not. You're not.
morals
You
have to
gotta.
somehow supervene the natural world when they
Yes.
don't.
Well, they do because they're
They
non-natural
don't.
properties. I just
They
explained how they
don't.
are.
They are natural
They don't have a
properties.
physical structure.
It's just a
Moral goodness,
social
moral bad, what is
construct.
good and bad, or what is right and
It's
wrong has
just a
nothing to do with.
social construct.
It's a
That's like saying
categorical
laws
error.
are supernatural. You know, like these laws that we make are somehow supernatural because they have
They're
no physical
immaterial, Mark.
form. So you think laws are supernatural? The laws that humans make are supernatural. Is that
They're
right?
not. If you don't like the word, if that somehow triggers you, let's call it non-natural
Supernatural,
properties. Let's call it
non-natural
non-natural.
properties. Like the
Yeah.
imagination is non-natural.
Like the idea that stealing is bad. So the properties of bad are connected to the idea of
Okay.
stealing. So
Stealing is bad. That's a universal moral truth, is it?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Ontologically, it is. Maybe not epistemologically, but
So
ontologically,
if
it is.
I steal a key to free somebody from a gas chamber in the Holocaust, is that bad?
No. Why would you say
Then
that?
it's not a universal moral.
It is
It isn't, because
because
universalism is irrelevant of the relative circumstances. So you're going into Kant and his idea of sort of deontology, that there's these universal truths about lying is always wrong, for instance. And we can always show
hold on, but
example
see,
where it's
wait a
not
minute,
true.
hold on, Mark. Now,
I mean, if you
you're
don't
trying to
think that,
propose.
then you don't know what
Hold on,
universalism
Mark.
is.
Let me destroy that argument. So first of all, morals cannot be imposed upon. Like they cannot be coerced. There has to be a condition of
They
freedom
can't
condition. So
be coerced.
yeah. So what you're in your example there, your a hypothetical example. The
Right?
person would be coerced to actually lie. So
What do you
that
mean they
doesn't
would be
count.
coerced?
They
Do
have
you
to
mean
be
to
morally
steal?
free. There has to be no imposition on their will. So
There's
you
nothing
just
about
destroyed yourself.
there's nothing about morality that
Yes,
says
there
that.
is.
No,
Look up
there
the
isn't.
epistemic
No,
conditions.
no,
Yes,
there
look up.
isn't. There is
You
nothing about
don't know what the hell
morality.
you're talking
No, no.
about, Mark. You
All that
don't
you're
even
talking
study
about is
philosophy.
a
I guarantee you don't
social.
even study philosophy.
Everybody I know
Sorry,
says
sorry,
that your
Praise.
philosophy is so
If I can
bad to be
interrupt,
absolutely tragic, Praise. So don't start on philosophy, because the whole idea that morals are somehow supernatural is one of the most asinine things I have ever heard.
I just
Like, you
demonstrated how
can't
they are.
you haven't. All you've done is assert that they are and then
They have
refuse to
sui generis
demonstrate.
properties. You have to give a refutation how they do not supervene on the natural.
They do they do. They're all
And if you
natural. What do
agree
you
they supervene, then you just destroyed your own argument because you're
I
saying
never
something
said they
non-natural
supervened the
is
natural.
supervening on the
I never
natural.
said they supervene the natural. They're just social constructs, like laws,
Then
like
you
any of
cannot
these
tell us
co-social
something is
constructs.
objectively wrong or right. Then shut up. Don't tell
Yeah,
us what's
I
right and wrong
never said that.
objectively.
I
Then
said that once you have a framework, like, you don't listen to anything, do you, Praise? Once you have a framework of what you are trying to achieve, you can make moral decisions
you have
within
no
that
moral
framework.
ontology.
We have a moral framework within
You
society.
do
We
not have
want
ontology
well-being
unless you
of the
have
individual
supervenience.
and society. So we've got the framework. That's fine. If you don't want to support that framework, find another society. Go live by yourself.
No,
Go
you.
hang out with Smokey. Go do whatever you want to do. But if you're not working
Go
for the
hang out
best
with
interests of
some of those
society,
communists. Then it's so
I'm
stupid
not
how
a
you're.
communist. I'm not a communist. I'm actually a capitalist. But, feel
Then
free to
why
be
would you
more
go
incorrect
hang
than you've
out
already
with
been.
Smokey? Why? Why?
Because you guys
Why would you?
supported him for so long. And you're doing
No, we
exactly the
didn't.
same
No,
thing
It was
again.
no.
back
Oh,
and forth, and
absolutely,
you
you
don't know the
did.
history behind it, and you
We
don't
were
know the
lied
history.
to.
Yeah, and you don't, and
And you're
really,
being lied
Mark,
to
when
again.
you
You
weren't
haven't
even
learnt a damn
there,
thing. You were
you
lied
weren't
to
even
again.
there, Mark. You weren't even there,
Well, I
Mark, to
do
even
remember being
know what
invited
was
to
taking
debate
place.
on
can I ask a
morality
question?
with some guy. Whose channel was that on? Let me think. Whose channel? Oh, it was Praises, that's right. And afterwards, I was told by many of my subscribers that their comments were being deleted from the debate. So much for the advocate of free speech,
Well,
hey, Praise.
Is it?
Can
Wait,
I ask a question?
Wait, was it when Gavin was on here?
No, it was with Smokey on morality.
I
He
never
was
blocked anyone's comments.
Right.
If
well, I
anyone, it
sent
was
you an
probably
I
Gavin.
It was
sent you an
Gavin. He
email
blocked
telling
a
you
lot of
why I wouldn't
people.
go on your channel because people were being blocked and complaining to me,
Yes.
It
and I
wasn't
never
me,
even got a
Mark. So
Wasn't
response.
him.
don't blame
Well,
me.
I never even got a response. Look, I don't know who's running your channel. I have no idea. It's just I bring up that, hey, I've got complaints from my subscribers saying, hey, we're being blocked off of the debate. Any comment we put is being deleted. And that was from multiple people. I bring it
Well, it
up
was
with you.
yeah.
I don't hear
Well, it
a
was a
peep
mod.
from
It
you.
wasn't me though.
Well, you know, you can tell me that, but you didn't decided not to get back to me.
Gavin apologized. According to Gavin told me he apologized to you.
No, he didn't.
Well, then he's a flat out liar. Then yeah. So what do you expect
He's
from
lying.
Gavin?
I don't know. I've only met Gavin like twice. I don't know what to expect from him.
Then why are you assuming all this if you don't know?
Right.
Well, I do know. I do
Man.
know what happened to me, and it was on Praise's channel that he put up Smokey as the guy debating morality. And he couldn't demonstrate an objective morality either. All he did was assert it, just like you have
I
done.
can't babysit people, Mark. Did you know
No,
that I don't
yeah,
have
but
superpowers like that?
well, what you're doing is just asserting that there's somehow
No, you're just
supernatural morals.
assuming, and you have these expectations, and Praise had no part of this, and yet you want to blame him.
Well, no, it's because
And
I
that's not
emailed him.
That's what I
fair.
want to
No,
ask
Olive,
Mark.
you don't know
what
what's
Praise's
happening because
culpability is.
well, I mean, I emailed him saying, "Hey, if you continue to block people, I'm not coming back on the channel," and I just never heard from him again. I was upfront.
Gavin
I
told
was
me
forward.
he was gonna
I was
message
being
you.
a person who was being
Fact.
upfront, responsible, and professional about what I'd experienced, the feedback that I got from the people that were following me, and presented it all to Praise, and he just decided not to respond. So be it. That's
I'm not
fine.
the one involved. It was
Praise, is that what
Gavin.
Right. And
Praise
he was
is? Hold
hacked.
on.
Well, why
Wait,
didn't you be
Praise.
professional and write something back and say, hey, that won't happen again?
He
You
did not
decided
get
not
emails. He was hacked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, one
Everyone's
time I
hacked,
was
yeah.
hacked, but yes, that is true though. But Gavin, the reason why I didn't respond is because Gavin told me he took care of it. That's why I didn't respond.
Well, I don't know what he means by that. But I
I don't
wasn't
know either. It
emailing
looks like
Gavin.
he's a
I
total
wasn't
bullshitter.
emailing Gavin.
So where do you
I
go
was
from there
emailing
then,
you.
Mark?
Well, I just bring it up as a point that this whole thing about censorship and you know what Kent has said is the only things I'm paying attention to. What he has said, and you might argue, yeah, he was fooled by the guy or what have you. He still was aware that it was Chris Jones. He had a record.
Okay.
He shouldn't have
All right,
been
well-
allowed to have any child anywhere near him. And it's not just that, but the people who were close to him at DAL were. It's not like he was
Okay.
just all by
Okay,
himself and unaware.
You've made that
Yeah.
case a lot. Now I need to ask Praise. Praise, is there any chance that Kent is in any way culpable for any of the things that happened?
I won't say culpable, but I'll say gullible. That's my position, that he was
Okay,
gullible.
even gullible, there's still some onus there, right, on what happens because
Sure. I mean there is, but I would say that he's not complicit, though. I think there's a difference between being complicit and then also being gullible. I think there's a huge distinction there.
All right, Mark, are you cool with him at least saying
Okay.
that there's
some
possible
culpability there.
culpability?
Okay. Mhm.
All right, so that we got common ground.
Okay, so the second issue is, why was Kent's channel taken down? And I don't know the answer to this one. I don't know. Does anybody have any facts about this?
No.
No, I mean, I don't. I wish I did.
So it's all speculation then.
Right,
That's all
right.
it is.
Yes.
Well, I find it hard to believe Kent when he says it's some kind of conspiracy done by. He was saying rampant Christians at one point. He was sort of saying atheists. I'm not sure what he's saying now, but I have a hard time believing that YouTube would do that.
Okay, but we don't have a way to demonstrate what the truth of that situation is, do we?
Well, I guess the only way that could happen is Kent show that the email that YouTube, always sends out when they
could.
cancel a channel, kind of thing, because they always
Yeah, he could
send
do that.
something out.
And has he made any? I don't know. Like, has he made any statements that he's willing to share that email?
Not to my knowledge. I think
So there's a chance we may never know, even though the probabilities of it being true might be slim. We just don't have a way to attack that, do we?
Well, no, but I think Praise has been sort of going around channels, sort of, or
He
interviewed
went on
Ken.
one channel,
One.
The Raging Atheist,
That's
because
it.
he was asked to come on there by The Raging Atheist. And everybody's trying to corner Praise or corner anybody who so much even watches Kent. It's a damn witch hunt, and they're wanting all these answers that nobody can give the answers to.
Right. I mean,
This is online.
Right. I have a ceiling of understanding. So do you understand that, Mark? That my ceiling, it can only go so much. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Right,
that.
and we're in the middle of
just...
a feeding frenzy right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right. It's mostly because of the Daily Beast article. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And do you want to know my thoughts about that, Mark? Can you please ask me? I don't give a shit.
What's your thoughts? You
I
don't care.
give two flying shits. I don't know Kent. I don't care to know him. This is online. If I want to watch Kent in a debate, I'm going to watch him in a debate. I don't care to know him as a friend. I don't care to know him as anything. Do I care to know you? No. This is just online. This is it. Stop with the witch hunt.
Well, I think somebody should do something about Kent's shirts. If we're going to hunt anything, we need to hunt whoever's designing his shirts. That's got to be stopped.
I mean, really, let the legal system handle itself out, and people need to move on with their lives.
Yeah, well, if we lived in a vacuum and if he wasn't promoting his place where all of this allegedly went down.
It's an open place of business. It has not been shut down. The legal system has not decided to shut that down. So he has a freedom in this country to advertise the shit out of his business. He can put it on a billboard.
I don't care.
Right,
he can
but the
paint
optics
it in the sky. He can put airplanes.
Sure.
And none of us have a say.
And,
right, but the optics,
I have the freedom,
and
I have the freedom to talk about that business and talk about the owner as much as I want.
Go to the people that know.
Bully and trap people.
What do you mean by entrap people? No one's out there making
you
guys go onto different channels and talk about stuff. No one's forcing you to do that.
The people that know this.
Wait, why would we shy away from the witch hunt? I mean, and again, if that's what's going on, if it's really a witch hunt, then again, it's still just a search to try and find out what's really going on, no matter what the accusations are.
We don't want it on this channel.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And that's it. And
but we're still talking about it. But we're still talking about it.
And I tried to shut it down, and it wasn't good enough.
On to have
that's
Bible
easy.
Study.
No, that's easy. I can just ask you: is your God an omni God?
Sorry, I'm helping my mom.
Praise God! Thank goodness.
Is your God a marble? Is your
God, I hope
not.
I hope not. That would be weird.
Okay.
Hopefully it's not sharp as a marble.
William, I'm not in the mood because
I'm just giving you an option other than Kent Hovind. You can talk about whatever you want. I'm just trying to change the subject effectively.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, that's fine. I think it's important to discuss. I think it's an important topic. Reid is talking about it, like it or not. It is being discussed. And the closing down of the channel's being discussed, which is why I came on to talk about it. If you would rather not talk about it, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't
Mark,
look
do you
good,
like
but that's
talking
fine.
about spiritual things?
I do, actually. I really do. Yes. Theology, morality, that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is one of the places I love to come to talk about that kind of stuff. I really
Oh.
appreciate how welcoming Praise has been to open theists.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been welcomed on here. I've been, I've been sworn at in here. I've been, yeah, I've had a lot of interesting interactions in here, to say the least. Yeah.
Especially Darth. That was a good one.
Oh, that was great. You know what? That was like, I don't care that much about views. Here's my highest viewed video by far. It kind of is irritating that people just want to see that kind of thing. I understand why, but at the same time, um, you can't have a normal conversation with the man. You just can't.
You can't.
I
I think he could be really good if he just sort of calmed down, let people talk, and then countered them. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. But that's his choice.
Stop over talking me! Why you were talking me? Why you were talking me? Why? Why you were talking me? You don't know the unconditional independent source of all things?
Wow.
There's classic Darth.
Reid being
So-
thrown. Yeah.
Mark,
Yeah.
are you an atheist?
I am, yes.
Praises. All right, if I ask Mark a couple questions real quick.
Oh, please go for it.
No,
Go
it's
for it.
not all right. You're gonna have to give me $100 advance before you do that.
I'm not worth
$100.
Oh yeah, you can go back to talking about
Come
Kent
on,
then.
I'm not worth $100. There's no way.
Can I? Have you noticed that amongst theists that there's an inherent condescension when we speak to non-believers?
Some, yes, some are fine. Like, I'm not going to lump everybody into one basket and say everybody is condescending. The thing that I find that is sort of a lot of condescension is from pre-sups in particular, who sort of are, no, you're lying to yourself. You actually believe there's a God, and they sort of tell you what you think. And I think that is a position being, unable to be demonstrated for a start and easily refuted. But also not allowing me to have my own stance, my own beliefs, my own knowledge of things. I do find that ultimately very condescending, like incredibly so, because I find it just as condescending as when atheists actually go, "Oh, you can't possibly believe in a God, you're just faking it," kind of thing. I find that just as condescending. Like, you may think somebody is wrong, but you shouldn't tell them what they actually believe. I think that that's sort of the epitome of rudeness. It's terrible. But not everyone's like that. Not everyone's like that, small raccoon. Jamuel.
Jamuel Saxon.
Saxon.
My name is William Freeman. We've met.
Okay, William. Yeah, good to meet you. I think I met you briefly in Knox, but no, it's good to meet you.
No, I appreciate you answering that. That's been something that we've been debating on other streams as far as sort of I don't think that theists recognize it, and I agree. It's more the presups that kind of, they start out with the idea that no one else has the truth.
Correct.
And that they're going to help the person see the truth without ever being able to hear that the other person may have logical problems with what they're saying, like or just pointing out certain traditions don't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
after that, it just becomes motivated reasoning.
Well, I mean, everybody's got to make presuppositions somewhere, but I think the problem is that you've got to acknowledge that your presuppositions may in fact be wrong. And if you're not acknowledging that, then it's a problem when I'm sort of saying, well, I'm going to presuppose these things and then apply them to you. I don't think that's a very constructive way of going about a conversation. I may presuppose that there's aliens in the universe. I can presuppose that all I want. It's just I shouldn't be putting it upon you to say, hey, that's truth, you have to take it now, because ultimately a presupposition is foundationless.
Okay, that's fair. You're a
But
pretty open-minded guy. It seems like you try to look at things from a lot of different perspectives, and it seems like you're empathetic to the other side of the arguments.
well, some people, yeah. Other people's not so much. It depends on how much they're sort of allowing me to put across my worldview and everything. And look, at the end of the day, it's not like I don't really care what people believe as far as, I mean, I'm arguing with Praise about morals, but essentially, Praise and I would pretty much have the same morality kind of thing. There's no difference between our moral standards. He might have some other things he may believe morally. I may not. Really, all we're looking for is compatibility in morals. Like, can we get along in society and have roughly the same things that we believe in? And there's going to be differences, sure. But as long as our morals sort of line up and are compatible with one another, there's no reason why we can't believe different things. Um,
Well, you
but
say you're an atheist, but are
yes,
you just a local atheist?
no, no, global.
So you're atheist against all possible gods.
Yes, I believe I'm not just so. It depends on your definition of atheist. If you want to use the sort of philosophy of religion definition, I'm still an atheist, and a global atheist at that. I believe no gods exist.
Okay, so you realize that a lot of people call different things gods. They have different ideas of gods.
Well, sure. I mean, but really,
So
as a
if I worship if I worship the universe as a god, you would agree the
well,
universe exists.
yeah, but then you're sort of just playing semantics with words, kind of thing, because
Am
really,
I, or do you have your own definition of what a god must be?
well, my definition of a god, because words don't have inherent meanings, but usually a god is an agent of some sort, like a thinking sort of a powerful being responsible for the creation of the universe or something along those lines. I think I had a definition somewhere. I'd have to find it again. It's sort of a non-contingent agent.
So for those types of gods, you're an atheist.
Yes.
But
I
for
mean,
gods that don't fit in that category, you're not an atheist, but you just don't believe that
well,
they're gods, even though other people
again,
do.
you're sort of saying that something that doesn't have the properties which I ascribe to a god, the properties that it has, you're just going to call that god. I mean, I could call my keyboard god, and under that definition, if you want to use that definition, then yeah, I'm not an
Yeah,
atheist. But at the same
right.
time, it makes the idea of a god completely trivial. And I'm sort
Your
of
idea,
working on.
yeah, well, the idea that you hold of what a god must be, yes. Because again, you want it to be personal, I guess, or have a mind or
Well, it doesn't have
affect.
to be personal, but I think an agent, so a being, an entity capable of making decisions and take action depending on what it wants. So it would have to be a thinking agent in that case. I think that would be a definition of God that I would take on. I think you could define God as anything you want, but if you're defining God as the universe, then it becomes, atheist sort of becomes a triviality. It becomes something that everybody believes in the universe, so everybody believes in God. Like it just becomes meaningless. So I would have to really dispute your definition of God if you're just applying it to a naturalistic non-agent without sort of just a property
I
of
can narrow it down a little
reality.
bit.
Sure.
I can trim some of the fat off. I can say, I think that even science has made claims about energy not being able to be created or destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that energy is eternal.
Well, I mean, it's not eternal. Eternal things don't
Well, then it's been
change
created.
necessarily.
I didn't say it
Well,
was immutable. I just said that if it can't be created and it can't be destroyed, then it's always been,
it's
and it
always
always will
been.
be.
See, I don't know
Yeah.
that's the case.
Well, then it can be created, then, right?
Well, I don't know what you mean by created, because sort of in our local presentation of the universe, things only change state. So a quantum field might collapse into, the current
Okay.
waveform that we're seeing,
So
etc.
something has always been, whether it's in
I don't know. I don't know.
So
I
it's
don't know that.
okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say that to me, existence has always been a thing, and if energy has always been a thing, and matter has most likely always been a thing. So
Um,
existence would be the ultimate requirement. It would be the ultimate
yeah,
force, and an
I
energy
don't.
that fills that gap from
I don't know
eternity.
that's the case. So before the Big Bang, I don't know what was before the Big Bang, whether something was created at that point or whether it just, sort of
Well, now wait
changed
a second.
state
You're a
from
logical
something else.
guy.
Sure,
You're a logical guy.
sure.
What could have preceded the Big Bang?
Oh, anything. I mean, I don't know. That's the whole point. We don't know
Right,
what preceded.
right. But one
We
thing
don't
that
even
couldn't
know
have
if
preceded,
Well, we
the
don't
one thing
even
that
know if
couldn't
there
have
was a
preceded it is nothing.
before. Well, we don't even know if there was a before to precede it, because when we're
Uh,
talking about time, right? We're talking about time. It appears to be a local presentation of the a presentation of the local universe, like space time,
now
right?
wait. Okay, so anything that happens within existence has to happen within time. Or when would it have
Um,
happened? When would it happen?
that's really the point. That if you're talking about before the universe, like what is before the universe, that may in fact be a nonsensical question, because
Well,
applying
yeah.
before to something that doesn't have time may have no sort we've got no way to actually apply that statement. It's
Well,
sort of like asking what
I'm not sure
color
that
is.
I'm not sure I can get behind the idea of something not having time. If it's
What
a
do you mean?
thing, then time is where it is.
Well, space time, but outside of the universe, if there is multiple dimensions, like if you hold to M theory or multiverse theory, there can be multi-dimensional objects, not all which dimensions are in space-time. Whether that
There can
existed,
be now.
well, I don't know. Possibly, yeah.
Well, then that would be now is an expression of time.
Right.
So no matter what it is, if it is at all, then it exists within time because it has to express at some point.
Well, not necessarily, because the time is just one dimension, right? You get that, right? It's just one dimension.
Well, it's like existence. For anything to be, existence is a factor of it. For anything to be, time is a factor of it.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe not, because we haven't been able to go outside of time or go outside of the three dimensions of the universe to see if anything's out there. That's the whole point. You're basically making these statements relying on a knowledge of what is outside the dimensions that we currently see. And I don't see any
You're
way
right.
you can have access to that knowledge.
Well, you're right, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to say that there's not other possibilities, but all
Sure.
probabilities, since we have no evidence that there are any other dimensions or anything that could exist outside of
Uh,
existence or outside of time, we
I
can
mean, yeah,
only hypothesize. I mean, we can think about it, we can conceptualize it,
sure.
but
But
we
it's
have yeah.
speculation,
So
sure. Yeah. So I
yeah,
don't
so
know.
but we go back to prior to the Big Bang. That
Is
a
there
Big
a
Bang
prior to
doesn't
the Big
happen.
Bang?
I don't know that the Big Bang was an expression of nothing becoming something. I don't think that makes sense at all.
Well, the whole thing about Lawrence's Krauss is nothing, something from
There
nothing.
is no
It's kind
nothing.
of, well, it's kind of misnamed. So when he was using nothing, it referred to a quantum field, like a quantum foam kind of
Yeah,
thing, a quantum wave
particles
field.
popping in and out of existence.
Right.
I've seen it.
So he didn't actually mean like a philosophical no thing, because I don't think no
Uh,
thing can exist, because to
we agree.
exist, there has to be something.
Yes, you and I are we are in agreement right now. I don't think there's ever been a time when there was no thing. I think something
I
has
don't know.
always existed in some form.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know whether that is true or not, because
Well,
if there
then
is
you're agnostic
something,
to it.
what do you mean?
you don't know, so you're agnostic to the possibility.
Well, no, but I don't think a God exists like a thinking agent.
Oh, no, you expressed that. Yeah, that's fine. I didn't say that we were talking about necessarily God. I'm saying that you have no knowledge. You don't have enough knowledge
Oh, you
to
mean
make a claim. Nor
agnostic?
do
Yeah,
I.
sorry. I when you said agnostic, I
In
thought
that
you meant.
sense.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
in
no,
that sense, to the I am agnostic to the origin of the universe. Now, it could be a god. There is that possibility, but I believe that is not the case based upon what I know about minds and the way that they work.
yes.
So,
No, and
Mark,
that's fair.
Okay.
do you mind if I give a proposition and see if you would be interested in it? So, I thought our discussion on morality tonight was pretty interesting. How would you like to bring this on like a one-on-one discussion on SFT's channel and
Yeah, sure.
have a cool, man? I would love that.
Yep, sure.
He'll set it up.
Yeah. I'll email SFT because I love morality debates. Absolutely love them.
Me too, man. So me and you, I can't wait. I think you're going to bring some good points, and hopefully I'll bring some good points too, and we can have a discussion on that.
Oh, hey, Pseudonym, how you doing?
I'm doing well,
and
thank you, Mark.
K-Town. Yeah,
K-Town!
Game over.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, William. I really do, mate. But if you sort of want to define God as energy or something, that's
no, not
my
alone.
definition.
That was just a starting point. I was
okay.
trying to
All right. Sorry,
get
I don't mean to
that, but we got bogged down. It's okay.
You, yeah.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. Do you believe in a God?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So what's the thing that's convinced you that a God is out there, that a mind capable of doing all this stuff is out there?
I mean, I was giving you some of that. I was kind of working through that with you, with my idea about it. But like we kind of disagreed on some fundamental points, like that, because I believe that energy is eternal, can't be created, can't be destroyed. And for that to be the case, eternality requires existence. So existence is another thing that it's just always a fact. Something always exists.
Just say it is eternal. Just say it is eternal. So if there was a eternal energy, right, that lasted throughout the universe, throughout all dimensions, throughout the cosmos, whatever else is out there kind of thing, and it's never created nor destroyed, what makes that a god?
No, it's not alone a god. What I'm saying is,
what other properties does it have?
Yeah. So just the fact that there is movement, there is something is happening rather than nothing. As far as if everything was static and the energy wasn't moving, it was just in existence, that would just be the way for all times. But something, again, I don't want to sound like a Greek philosopher, but something moved. Something caused motion somewhere. And things have happened, and we have minds. But we seem to have minds. We seem to be capable of comprehending order and patterns and understanding like the language of music without actually having to hear lyrics to know the difference between noise and music. And that's just the kind of order, like with the Fibonacci sequence, that you just see in the universe and everything. So it just seems like there is order when there shouldn't be.
Well, I don't know about seems like. I know that chaotic patterns can give rise to order. It's called spontaneous synchronicity. It's why if you get metronomes on different paths, I love this video that I show all the time. It's metronomes that are unsynced up on a like hung platform, and they will synchronize just out of the way that things fall into synchronicity. Now, we see these patterns, like the chaotic weather patterns that come up, and we see these patterns.
Hold on. Sammy, are you under attack?
No. What can you hear?
It sounds like an alarm or something going off behind you, or a big-ass cricket.
Cricket, yeah.
Oh, crickets. I'm in Australia. Sorry, I'll go inside.
Oh, yeah, they're bigger than the cars.
You and me both, mate. Yeah, so
we ride them.
right. I like Yosemite. We see these patterns come up, but that's sort of part of chaos theory, and you can sort of see that in fractals. You get a very simple random pattern replicated over a large array, and it becomes an ordered system within the chaotic system. We see that all the time. I'm just wondering where a god comes into that movement, like why a god would be required for that rather than just naturalistic
I didn't say it
laws.
was required. I didn't say that. I'm just telling
Okay.
you what I believe. I
Okay,
believe
sure.
to me it's more probable that that order and that specificity, like what's found in the Fibonacci sequence, repeating everywhere from the, the Milky Way down to our fingertips. I find that
Right.
pattern to be repeated, and it's a mathematical sequence which I find fascinating. And to me, it looks like intelligence. It looks like genius. Now I could be deluded and wrong, and I accept that. But
Mm.
to me, that's the feeling that I get. Does that help? You asked me why I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
it.
sure, sure. No,
Does it?
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. No, I do admit, yeah, that's fine if you believe. I just don't believe that. I think it's just a natural pattern that sort of has come up, kind of thing. I think that that's just a part of the universe as it is. Um,
Okay,
I
but my it's not hard to understand why I would believe what I believe, right? The
for
eternal energy kind of thing, the existence, and then a pattern of
yeah,
like
for me for
mathematical sophistication.
well, for me it is because I don't see how a agent could exist sort of sans a brain with everything that I understand about sort of the way that the brain works and how a mind is produced by the brain. There's
You
nothing
mean a
that
physical brain?
well, yeah, yeah. We've
So
seen a million
chemicals.
yeah, and neural pathways and sort of different areas contributing different
Hmm.
things to the thing that we call a mind, sure.
So without a physical presence, you believe that mind doesn't exist.
Well,
Without like a
I
physical brain, a wet gray throbbing brain.
I think I'd be open to it if someone could demonstrate a mind without some kind of brain. But
Well,
unfortunately,
here's
the
Jill.
only oh, that's really harsh, man. Um,
He loves it.
okay. Yeah, so I think if someone could demonstrate a mind without a brain, I'd be a lot more convinced. I'd probably be agnostic at that point, at least, if not sort of believe. But I don't see any evidence of anything of a mind or anything that even approaches a semi-mind without some sort of and the thing is, the more complicated the brain, the more consciousness that thing seems to have. So you see a lot of rudimentary animals with sort of the nervous system and not much else, maybe a couple of, different things, but they don't have the very well developed brains of, truly sentient creatures. And as the brain gets more complicated, the mind appears to as well. So yeah, I don't. If you could produce one, that's great. But until that time, I see no like I disbelieve a god. I think a god doesn't exist.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, what if we showed idealism to be a better proposition than, let's just say, like metaphysical naturalism or some type of naturalism that you would probably hold to? So you do know, I mean, Mark,
What do you mean by
if
better?
idealism is true, then yes, we have all the validation in the world to show that yes, God is a mind outside of a brain.
What do you mean by better though? A better proposition? What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm going to speak in abductive terms. The inference of the best explanation. It's the most parsimonious position. um I think that it would be the the most accurate position out there, in other words.
Well, abductive isn't really
Parsimonious.
about yeah.
Yes,
Parsimonious just
parsimonious.
means the most probable, basically. But I'm always wary of these abductive arguments because the problem with them is if the premises are unsound, you're going to get to a very wrong answer
Right.
very quickly. Um, so abductive arguments are fine. I prefer inductive arguments because they are shown to have a lot more um, accuracy as far as understanding reality is concerned.
We're limited
Especially,
there, though.
well, absolutely, we're limited by induction, sure. I mean, deductive is obviously the best, but there's no way you can deductively show something like that. It's almost impossible to rule out
We've been
every
trying to get
possibility.
God to hold still so we can run some tests, but he's just too busy.
Well, I mean, like if you're talking about sort of the scientific method, like God in a test tube, that isn't the only use of induction in the world. But sort of an abductive is sort of, well, what's the most probable out of these possibilities?
But what would satisfy you, Mark?
What would satisfy me?
Yeah, I mean, an examination of the
inductively?
deity.
Well, really, I mean, not the deity itself, but you would have to have some sort of reliable evidence, something that's robust, rigorous. So robustness is sort of everybody doing the same thing and coming up with the same results kind of thing, something that is dependable. Rigorous means that you've taken all possibilities into account. So, you've given that can be God, that could be something else, that could be something else. Like, take everything into
account. So as demonstrable as gravity.
Well, I mean,
we can't really explain gravity like conclusively, but we can all agree that it's there. So that
well, sure. Yeah, and I mean, so that's sort of the rigorousness is there. If we take all accounts in everything into possibilities, we can decide, hey, gravity does exist. If we have people do the same thing, they come up. If everyone drops a pen, it always drops. It's reliable. It's a reliable way to find out that gravity does exist. Yes.
Yeah,
and that's where you get on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, so like idealism. Did you do some research on that, and like, do you understand basically the tenets of it? Okay, good.
Yeah, so idealism, that the only way to knowledge is through the ideas and sort of what we rationalize in our head. And I don't think there's much I would rely on to reasonably rationalize only one or two things at most. And unfortunately, in order to get to where I have to be, I have to presuppose things like the senses and the laws of logic, for instance. There's no way around that. It's Hume's problem of induction. But once you get to there, I think that's the best way to evaluate reality. I'm not aware of anything in idealism that's come up with a reliable representation of reality. Perhaps you could enlighten me.
Yeah, well, Berkeley did. In fact, maybe I should have a show in it sometime, and you could come in and like critique it and watch it. And I think that might be, a more productive stream if I did that. So I guess I had a question for you, and with induction.
Why don't give Jill a chance, for Pete's sake? He's got a PhD. He could answer this.
Jill is the man.
I think Jill said he had a master's, not a PhD.
He's got a foot.
I just identify as a PhD, so therefore I am.
You're trans degreed.
Well, let's talk about this, because the whole idea that you're sort of taking on credentials that you haven't earned, like, look,
there's nothing to talk about.
Well, streamers call themselves like Dr. Disrespect and all these sort of things all the time, but they're not seriously pretending to be, a credentialed doctor kind of thing. I think there's a big difference between, just using the name, Dr. something, and actually pretending to be a credentialed doctor. I think there's a big difference between them.
Right. But you don't make the same argument for Bruce Jenner.
Bruce Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner?
Bruce Jenner.
Well, yeah, because they're not pretending to have
special pleading. It's called.
Well, no, they're not pretending to have credentials kind of thing that they haven't earned.
Right.
So a doctor has to usually do 3-4 years of
we
undergrad.
We get it. Yeah, we get it.
Well, yeah, so that's called a false analogy.
It's not.
Well, yeah, it is. That's the false analogy.
Jill,
you want to talk about special, don't you?
Yeah. So
I identify as a PhD. Every Christian in here believes God has a special existence. So
No, that's false.
every Christian in here, no one's stepping up saying that's not the case.
I am. I'm saying
You're not a
God is
Christian.
not in his.
I said
Oh,
every Christian in
really?
here.
Oh, so
Yes.
no
You're
true
a
Scotsman.
closed theist. Yes,
You're
William.
not a Christian.
So our special, who art in special existence, special be thy name.
That only works on
Go on,
atheist
tell us
channels.
more about special.
That only works on atheist channels. Is there any Christian in here that does not believe God is special?
I think you're
Yes.
special,
Who here
Jill.
believes
I
that
think
God is
you're
outside of
special.
existence?
No, that's not what I said. Nice try. Is there any Christian in here that does not believe God does not have a special existence? Yes. Anyone?
Yeah, I don't believe that
Anyone? No. I said Christian. Is there any
Ouch.
Yeah, so
God
that's.
existed
Are you a
alone by
Christian,
himself?
William? Are
By
you a
He means
Christian?
Calvinists. Are there any Calvinists in here that agree with him? I think is what he's
Does
saying.
anyone?
Well, are you a
I don't hear
Christian,
anyone
William?
speak. I don't
Just a
hear
sec,
anyone
Jill. Just
speaking
a
up.
timeout, mate. Just a
I
timeout.
don't know. I don't
William,
hear
are
anyone.
you
No,
a Christian?
I asked the panel a question.
Yeah, I don't
I
care.
asked the panel a
William, are you a
question.
Christian? I just would like to know.
Anyone in here
That's all.
praise P
I'm an
Town?
open theist.
An
Absolutely.
open theist.
God
What
is
exactly does
the.
that mean?
Hold on. Let Praise answer, because William doesn't know what the Christian position is when it comes to God's existence. That God existed alone by himself. By definition, that is a special existence.
I'll
Before
say it to you.
anything
Yeah,
else.
self-existent. Yeah, he is
Thank you.
special. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, William. That's the Christian position. Carry on.
What do
What were
you
you
by
saying, Mark?
well, what's an open theist, and what's the difference? So you don't follow the Bible, Christianity kind of thing? That's not.
No, I do. The difference between an open theist and some of the other Christians is that I don't believe in the omni God of tradition. I believe
Ah,
in the limitations that the Bible has with the God. And I don't believe that God knows all future events exhaustively. I think that he reacts in time with emotion, and he's not all powerful, but he has enough. He has all the power necessary to achieve his goals. I'm an open theist.
okay, but do you believe that Jesus was God?
No, I believe he was the son of God.
Okay. And do you
Same
consider
thing.
yourself a Christian?
No, because I don't believe in a trinity. I don't believe in a
Okay.
triune God. That's illogical and not backed up by scripture.
Interesting.
Good luck with that.
I've had pretty good luck so far. Now, if you would like to change my mind on it, I'm always open for that discussion.
So, okay, tell me how the Father can be eternal without the eternal Son.
I don't think that you're saying that. Are you assuming something in there?
Okay,
Because if he's the Father,
then you agree. Hold on. So do you agree that the Heavenly Father is that a biblical character to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is he a father to before the universe?
The host, the Elohim.
No, I'm saying before that. I'm saying even before. Are you saying that the
There's
angels
nothing
are
before
eternal?
the Elohim. Well,
Well, it would
they're
have
not
to be.
eternal.
It
They're
would
not
have to be
eternal.
past eternal. So what was the Father to pass eternally?
Okay, there was the Father, and then the Father produced things. Ergo, the Son.
That's not what I'm. Okay, you're missing my point. So
Maybe.
Yeah, for him to be the Father, period, he would have to have something next to him or something to be a father to. So if he's the eternal Father, which means without beginning, without end, then he would have to have the eternal Son to be the Father too.
No, just look. I'm a father now. That doesn't. I haven't always been a father.
But
Okay? Just
yeah,
because if I'm eternal and a father, but that doesn't mean that I've always been a father.
For the Father to be eternal, he would have to have the eternal Son to be the Father. So unless you're saying that
I have to ask you, because you're confusing me. Is Jesus the Father?
By definition, he can't be. So you can't have the Son without the Father, and you can't have the Father without the Son.
Is the Father the Holy Spirit?
No.
Is Jesus the Holy Spirit?
No.
Okay,
They
so we're
co-indwell
talking about
though.
three beings. We're talking about three
No, we're
beings.
talking about three persons, and they
Yeah,
co-indwell with each other.
I don't
Yeah,
get
so
that either.
So do they have different experiences?
no, they share the same the same consciousness. So no,
So the Father died on the cross.
no, the person of the Son died on the cross.
So they have different experiences.
Well, it depends what you mean by experience. Are you talking about like the?
Do they have the same will?
Yes, they share the same will. Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so when Jesus says in Gethsemane to let the cup pass before him, but not my will, but thy will be done, is he talking to himself in a weird way?
No, he's talking about his human nature. He had a human will.
So are they numerically one or numerically three?
They are numerically one, but it's a composite one, just like you can have a unity like a church. They are one, but they are a plurality at the same time. So there's
One in
one.
what?
It's oneness. Yeah.
Oh, like if you and Olive and Sparrow, y'all are kind of like a trinity because you believe in the same things and have the same goals. You're triune.
Yeah, triune. You can say that. Yeah, but it's
I
not
couldn't say
numerically
that. I
one.
was being sarcastic. There's no way that that equates to a triune. You and Sparrow and Olive. You are three separate beings that may have the same goals, may even think a lot of the same things, but your wills are different at times. It doesn't mean that you're not family and you're not still working towards the same overall goals, but
It
you're different
depends.
in number.
Yeah, but it depends how you look at number one, though. So it's called like the indexicals. So when you look at indexicals, like you're assuming Leibniz, I can't even say the guy's name, Leibniz's understanding of what numerical or indexicals are. So we're saying that is not. So Leibniz's rule, I would say, has been falsified, and that's you can actually demonstrate that. So
Are you sure this isn't motivated reasoning?
what your understanding of what one equals is actually an error.
Look, I'm not making it complicated because I'm just reading what the scripture says. We're trying to say Trinity, and there's no evidence that you can even limit it to three. You're saying three. I'm saying it could be five. It could be 50. We only have mention of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in certain parts, but you really don't even see that until the New Testament.
No, because it's a perfect love. It's for you can't have more than three to have a perfected love, because the Holy Spirit also reflects the love of the Father and the Son, and then they all three love each other. It's a perfect dynamic. You cannot have
That
more than
doesn't
three.
follow. That doesn't follow.
It does, because if you had a fourth or more, then it's one more than that would be needed.
All right, so then I in my relationships actually need to be polyamorous and bring in another one so I can have perfect love.
Well, that's the problem. Like you're defining love in a different way. So God, you're talking in essential love, but see, God is a more.
No, I mean an emotional satisfaction of having three parts, because by what you just said, that's the only way I can have a perfect love.
Well, it's not parts. God is not parts. So I think that's a misunderstanding.
Are you sure? Because you've mentioned three parts of the same God.
What makes three perfect?
So you need a triunity for you need the third person would have to reflect the first two the Father and the Son, the hierarchy, and then the two would be called procession, where they would send the Spirit out to reveal and testify to the Father and the Father and the Son.
There's a hierarchy.
Yeah, there is a hierarchy.
Who's in charge?
Yes.
Who's in charge then?
The Father is the monarchy of the Trinity.
Uh-oh. I think we've run into a problem.
Wow. So they're different people or different entities, and the Father is the monarch over the other two.
Right. Well, I think to make it simple, I think we have to simplify it. So God is a being, but he also has a plurality of, he's tripersonal. So
now you're talking about avatars, Praise.
No, what we're talking about is the distinction between personhood and being. So you can be like human beings. So we have an instantiation of personhood, and then we also have the idea of being that all of us share. We all share some type of being and humanity. So they share the same characteristics and like their omni traits. Like they all share like omnipotence, omnibenevolence, and
God's being is eternal, also.
right. Exactly. But then there's different instantiations of personhood. They all share personhood within that being. So it's even consistent with humans because there's different instantiations of humans. The only difference is they share the same being though. Like we don't share the same being. We're different instantiations of being. I mean personhood, I mean.
I don't know that you're saying anything different from avatars.
Or share the same nature, I meant. Yeah, so they share the same nature, but we all, like humans, have different natures. So we're a collection of human beings or human persons. So if we get to that understanding of the difference between personhood and being, I think the Trinity becomes more crystallized. It'll be easier to understand.
I don't know that you're being coherent right now.
So how we determine the persons of the Trinity too is by their properties. The Father has the properties of being unbegotten. The Son has the properties of being begotten.
Explain that. Let's not rush past that.
Yeah. So the Father begot the Son from eternity. I think it's Psalms 2:7.
When did that happen?
From eternity, Psalms 2:7.
Well, then that means he wasn't begotten. He didn't come from.
I know, but you can have causes without without being in time. So I can
When
give
would
an
that
example.
happen?
See, you're assuming time. You don't need time to have a cause, or I mean an effect.
You have to have time to have an event.
To have effect, you do not need time, and I can
For
I can
any
prove.
any action requires time.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
And
William's right.
existence.
You can't have
I
an
would
event without
disagree.
time.
Well,
Well,
let
you
me
would
give it.
disagree to defend a tradition.
Well, let me give you an illustration that kind of shows you you're wrong. So let's say you have an eternal flame, and it's just been always going. It hasn't went out. Let's just say it has some type of fuel system that is eternal. Like we'll just say energy of the universe makes the flame go. So we know the flame itself is eternal, but the heat that comes off of the flame is dependent on the flame. So the dependency, you can see how dependencies work, even though it's eternal. So
Would the
those type
flame
of
precede the heat?
no, because they're both eternal, but it's still dependent on the flame.
Well, I think. Sorry, I gotta go. I do apologize. I got dinner, but yeah, it was good to talk to you all, and thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
All right, Mark. I appreciate the discussion, even though it got heated. But it's
sure.
it's
I'll
fun.
I'll send Donnie an email, and we can sort out a date and everything. I've got a few things coming up, so yeah, I'll love you and leave you praise, and yeah, thanks to everybody for having me on. It's been interesting.
All right, man. Take care.